Thank you, Nikita. I was just wondering when Anant Lakshmi was speaking nowadays, everyone talks of myopia control. And I was kind of... Oh, now you can. Nisha mentioned that out of every 100 kids, 70 are Indians. And in myopia control, we talk a lot about not using mobiles, not using screen time, etc., etc. So I don't know how myopia control is directly related to population control. You know, that is how population of India is so high, and we continue to contribute. Optometrists are contributing to population and not population control by creating myopia control. So anyway, I don't know if I'm in law, outlawed, or out of law. But my friends over here, they tell me I'm the most illegal person, so I am the right person to talk about legalities. So let's do a little bit of quiz. So वो कह रही है चुप रहने के लिए बोलो. You'll get a chocolate if you answer this. How many of you are faculties over here? Teachers or cheaters? She's showing you the chocolates. You'll really get them. So that's how you have to get attention, not by screaming over there. All right. How many of you know this NCHP? Just hands up. One, two, three, four. Okay, I saw her hand first. Ramji. Mike, I'll go.
National Council for Allied Health Profession. National Council for Allied Health Profession. And Health Profession.
Somebody from Titan where? They'll know. I've been hammering them all this while. You will not get for saying and.
So NCHP is National Council of
So it is National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions. So this morning when I saw this again, I was hurt. Where is Karuna? Madam, you got to change your university. It says Allied Healthcare. It is Allied and Healthcare. Okay? So does anyone get a chocolate? No. We save one. How many of you have heard of IELOCS? You have heard of it? Yes. Can I know what it is? No Googling.
Indian level optometry entrance, Indian entry level of optometry council, no? College, school.
Indian
entry level optometry competency sciences standards.
We give it to you. What is it all about? What is ILOX all about? Hello, all budding optometrists at the back. All you guys got to know these. Your competency. What I'm hurt is no faculties know this. They are creating optometrists without knowing the competencies they are working towards. How many of you have heard of this?
Common minimum optometry curriculum. Yes, ma'am.
That is common minimum optometry curriculum. Okay, the last one which I added this morning. Anyone heard of this? ASCO and ISCO. Yes. Anyone heard of this? So yeah, somebody?
International Standard Classification of Occupations. International Standard Classification of Occupations.
So this is International Standard of Classification of Occupations. Now, why did I talk of all these 5 things? We talked about NCHP, we talked about ILOX, we talked about CMOC, we talked about ISCO. Basically, that's exactly where we are today. We are looking towards legality in optometry, and unless we know this, please do not ask for rights. You got to know what you are first of all, then alone you can ask for right. Okay. Are we paramedical or allied? Fantastic. Lakshmi ji, हम चलते हैं यहाँ से. We are still allied. What are we? Healthcare. We are neither paramedical nor allied. Please understand the difference between the two. It really pains if optometrists want all the rights, all of you want to prescribe drugs, all of you want to do a whole lot of things independently, and then you call yourself paramedical or allied. If you are allied, if you are paramedical, then you have no right to do anything independently. Okay? All of you have read this, but I have highlighted 3 words over there. You don't have to read the rest of it. All of you memorize it. It's all in your heads. Lots of people would have read it out umpteen number of times. I have highlighted 3 words, educated and regulated. Morning somebody said, refraction is our bread and butter. Good for me. Rehi went ahead and said, it is no more our bread and butter. It's a foundation. If you don't move above refraction, what are you going to do? Education, please believe me, is not a paper called degree that you people get at the end of 4 years or 6 years or whatever you study. Education is understanding competency that you gain over a period of time, and unfortunately, very sad that that is missing today. Please don't think that if you know to refract by pressing a button of autorefractor, you have become optometrist. So, when we talk of optometry, it is educated. Please understand, education is competency in optometry. ILOX talks about the minimum competency that any optometrist should have at the end of 4 years. The minimum competencies. Do we really have them? If you don't have them, then you're not worth your salt. Please do not call yourself optometrist if you do not have those minimum competencies at the end of 4 years. Regulated, we ask for rights. Is it regulated? You know when optometry started? Any idea? When optometry started in India? When was the first college of optometry started? Sorry?
1952.
Where?
Sarojini Optometry, Hyderabad.
It was started in Aligarh Muslim University in 1950s. And Sarojini Eye Hospital again, they were started as diploma programs. Under National Prevention of Control of Blindness, government started a lot of ophthalmic assistant programs. All India Institute of Medical Sciences in 1970s started a 3-year program called Ophthalmic Techniques, BSc Honors in Ophthalmic Techniques. 1985 was the first 4-year graduate program in optometry where Elite School of Optometry started that. And 14 years later, the second 4-year program was started. 3 years later, the third optometry program. And this is my 4th talk. Previous 3 talks also have, and I usually make the statement, by the time I'm speaking, a couple of more optometry schools would have opened in India. So that is the speed at which we are producing optometry schools. I don't know if it's really right or not, but then that is what is happening. And that is how Indian optometry started, and we have close to 250 or maybe about 300 odd schools of optometry in India today, producing optometrists in inverted commas. I am not too sure if they are competent or not. Okay. I just mentioned that we do not have regulation as of date. I have been practicing for 30 odd years, 33 years. Rekhi has been practicing for 32 years. Ajay has been practicing for 31 years. Lakshmi has been practicing for 31 years. A lot of you might have been practicing for X number of years. How have we been practicing if we do not have a law? Can someone answer that? None of us have been jailed. We have not been jailed for practicing. Yes, ma'am, you said something?
चॉकलेट्स खत्म हो गया
चॉकलेट खत्म हो गया इसके लिए चॉकलेट पर 2 तो आंसर नहीं किए ना अच्छा so how have we been practicing? Sorry?
It is considered as unregulated profession in.
So, if it is unregulated, then how are you practicing? You've been practicing for years. Sorry? Whatever, standards, no standards, if something is not allowed, can you practice? So the fact that there was no law which prohibits us from practicing, we have been practicing. There's no law which was allowing us to practice. But again, there was no law which prohibited us from practicing. And based on that fact, all of us have been practicing and we have not been jailed. Why have we not been jailed? Nisha talked about professional indemnity insurance. Had we blinded a few people, I'm sure we would have been jailed. Somehow we had certain amount of competency, we stood our ground, and here we are, not jailed. But then, if you go about helter-skelter and keep practicing as you want, God alone knows what is going to happen. What are the problems that were affecting optometry in India? Basic 3 problems that affected optometry in India. First thing, We did not have a standard nomenclature. A to Z, whatever permutation combination people had, they were named. Even today, my own college offers BSc in optometry. The college where I'm standing offers BSc in optometry. Despite the fact a nomenclature, standardized nomenclature of B-Optom has been set by UGC. We did not have any standardized nomenclature. We did not have standardized duration of the program. The 1 month courses, the 2 month courses, the 6 months courses, 1 year, 2 years, including 6 years OD in optometry. OD in optometry does not know what is the concave mirror effect and plane mirror effect. What do? The third problem that affected Indian optometry was a minimum curriculum. The minimum curriculum which is required for minimum competency that was required for optometry in India. I'm not talking of any other country in the world. In India, what was the minimum curriculum that was required and what are the minimum competencies? So, we provided the solution. We started working on it as ASCO. Before OCI came into being, there was ASCO, or there is ASCO. We started working on a curriculum. We spent about 2 to 3 years, I think it was about 3 years that we spent. No funding, nothing, no money coming from anywhere. A few of us put in our money, put in our time, put in everything. We used to travel to different places in India, sit down, have meetings, wrote the curriculum, which we nomenclatured CMOC. It was called Common Minimum Optometry Curriculum because we wanted all the colleges in optometry to follow that minimum curriculum. At least that much should be taught to a 4-year graduate. We came up with that curriculum in 2010, published it. Very surprised, 2023, people do not know what is CMOC. 2011, we wrote another document called ILOCS. Again, 2023, most people do not know what is ILOCS. ILOCS is Indian Entry-Level Optometry Competency Standards. Competency. We've been talking of competency, which comprises of 2 things, basic 2 things, knowledge and skill. You should have knowledge, theoretical knowledge of what you're doing, and skills on how to do that. You may have a slit lamp, but if you do not know how to use a slit lamp, what is the use of having that slit lamp? So, competency, the minimum competency standards, we wrote in 2011 and again published that. Then we realized a mistake. How could we make a curriculum without knowing the competencies? We revisited the curriculum, rewrote the entire curriculum, and published it again. UGC listened to us. Again, यहाँ ये हमारी optometry अम्मा खड़ी है. I think 25 years of her life she has spent writing letters. Anything happens in Indian optometry, the first letter goes from her. And I am her legal consultant. इसमें ये सही बता दे कैसे ये सही है क्या? So those letters were written, lots of letters were written to UGC, and finally in 2014 they came up with a gazette which talked about a standardized nomenclature for a bachelor program in optometry as well as the master's program in optometry. The duration also was standardized. 2014, 2023, 9 years, still that is not followed. It required somebody to hammer them. UGC also is helpless. 2014, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India constituted the task force to standardize and legislate 56. There were 56 professions which were unregulated, had no regulation, optometry being one of them. And again, I have highlighted this, allied and healthcare. I have written and in red. Please mind that and. Very, very, very important. We fought for almost 10 years for that and. Just that single and, we fought for almost 10 years. So these people, the Ministry of Health, finally in 2014, they constituted this, and we started working towards it. It came to be called Allied and Healthcare Profession. Now, why that and is important to us? Because out of these 56 professions, only 5 professions come under healthcare, and rest of the 51 are allied. The 5 professions which are under healthcare are optometry, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nutrition and dietetics, and physician assistant. These are the only 5 professions in this entire 56 group of 56, which come under healthcare, and the rest of them are allied. The reason why we come under healthcare, or any of these 5 come under healthcare, is we can practice independently. You can have your own practice, you can practice independently, you can prescribe and dispense independently. You do not have to be under somebody to do that, under supervision of anybody to do that. We have had lots and lots of meetings, lots and lots of arguments on that, and ultimately we achieved this. COVID time, 16th of March 2021, a bill which was running from 1948, the longest running bill in the history of the world, not alone India. 1948, that bill was started. 2021, on 16th of March, it was placed in Rajya Sabha. It was cleared by Rajya Sabha. Very easy to get clearance from Rajya Sabha. On 24th of March 2021, when is the World Optometry Day? Wow, thank you. We got a belated birthday greeting. 24th of March 2021, this bill was passed by the Indian Parliament, both the houses, Rajya Sabha as well as the Lok Sabha. Our longest pending bill with maximum number of amendments, 70 plus amendments. No other bill in the world has had so many amendments as much as this bill. I don't know how many nomenclature changes it had. I think we worked for almost 14 years on that. And during our task force tenure, I don't know how many times the nomenclature itself was changed. It started as paramedical. Then Ghulam Nabi Azad, one day, he came and he gave a big speech. He says, I take India out of the clutches of paramedical and remove that word. Unfortunately, even today, a lot of people say paramedical. He said, I want to abolish this word paramedical. It's a bane on Indian health sciences. He removed that. We don't follow that today also. Anyway, 28th of March, this bill became a law. It became an act of parliament. President of India signed it. It was passed by Supreme Court of India. And now it is no more a bill. A lot of us still call it NCAHP bill. It is no more a bill, it's an act. It's an act of parliament, and no one can change it unless a government which has more than 50% majority, more than 2/3 majority, decides to change it. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but then we stand strong on that. So what is this act all about? Basic 2 things that we talked. First thing, education. Standardization of education. And we seriously mean education. We do not mean a degree, a paper. India will have serious standards of education in optometry, and all that will have to be followed, whoever it may be. UGC can, people did not listen to UGC, people did not listen to any of us, that's okay. But now they'll have to listen to law. So every university, every college teaching optometry will have to follow this. So we are going to standardize education. The curriculum, it has been cleared by Ministry of Health. It is very much there in the website. You can just Google for Ministry of Health, Family Welfare, optometry curriculum, and you'll get that. Next month, we are revisiting that curriculum. And in March 2023, you will have the latest version of curriculum, and that has to be followed whatever may come. So that's how the education is going to be standardized. The second thing is about practice. All of us are happy practicing wherever, whenever, however we want. That's not going to be the case anymore. You have to be registered. So how are we going to register these people? All of us. We have to be registered. So currently, how many of you have enrolled in the portal? Which one? The website is not working correctly. It's a portal. It's a link. It works.
Yeah, there have been complaints, especially for the past. Yeah. For the past. No, the problem that people have been telling is when you, there's a drop-down list, right? That drop-down list doesn't come up, it just gets stuck. And then, yeah, it gets stuck, right? So that's the complaint that's been coming.
Yeah, so all that is taken into consideration, and we are coming up with a website. Hopefully by March first week, that website will be up and above. It will have for both individuals as well as institutions. So both the individuals, you will have to enroll as optometrists or whatever you are, and institutions as whatever courses you're offering. So all the details will be there. They are going to be there on that portal, on that website. You have to fill it up, enroll. You can't say, I will not, I don't want to. I've heard people ask me, if I don't, there's no question. You do not have a choice. You want to practice as optometrist? You have to. You do not want to? Most welcome not to enroll. Okay? I told you what comes under allied and what comes under healthcare and why. Because healthcare, there's a minimum number of hours of education that are prescribed. You have to follow that. You can't say, I'm going to teach 1,000 hours and run it for 4 years. No. It's going to be 3,500 odd hours plus, which education has to be there for 4 years, and then alone it can be called a healthcare program, otherwise it is allied. I talked about the International Standard Classification of Occupations, ISCO. This is a code which is given for every occupation, every profession. It's nothing to do with healthcare, science, or anything. Every occupation on earth. I'm sure Nisha also will be there. Everyone will be there. So optometry has been given a code wherein we get independent practice rights and what all we can practice. Everything is mentioned. Please Google for it and you'll get it. We have been put under a branch called ophthalmic sciences. Ophthalmic sciences comprises of 3 professions: optometry, vision technician, and ophthalmic assistant. I've had a lot of people talk about it, a lot of people argue with me. The other 2, vision technician and ophthalmic assistant, are allied. They will have to work under somebody. They cannot be equated to optometrist. So please get it out of your heads that they are going to be your competitors. They are not your competitors. They are going to support you. So suppose you open your practice and you want an assistant. Yes, you have a person who can work under you, but he or she cannot prescribe or dispense anything in his or her personal name. It has to be under your supervision or an ophthalmologist's supervision. Okay? So please be clear on ISCO codes, because that is very, very clear mentioned in the Act. Last year we set up Interim Commission of Allied and Healthcare Professions. We've been working on the enrollment, we've been working on the curriculum, we've been working on institutions, how to start a program, how a course should be run, and it is not optometry alone. Believe me, it is 56 professions. So it's not easy. All of us are working towards it. It's going to take time. A mess of 75 years cannot be sorted out in 1 month. It's going to take time, but hopefully by March end, it will all be ironed out. Now, I am talking of National Commission. I said National Commission. Now, National Commission is like central government. Health is a state subject. So every state will have to form its state commission. As of date, 9 states have made state commissions. Unfortunately, Karnataka, madam has been going asking for appointments. Abhi tak to nahi mili hai. Hopefully we should get. But there was a meeting on 13th of November last year where all the states who refused to set up the commissions, the health secretaries as well as the Directorate of Medical Education were called to Delhi, and they were told that by end of May 2023, they have to set up the commission. And if they do not, those states will come under National Commission. So that is how it is going to be. So please ensure that all of you enroll, and all the data after filtering will be offered to the states, and you will have to register in your states. So, like I told you, the Act came into being on 28th of March 2021. Until that day, whoever was practicing as whatever will be considered optometrists and will be allowed to practice. Of course, over a period of time, they will have to update and upgrade. So OCA is there for that, ASCO is there for that, all of us are there to help you. If there are some diploma holders over here, we are there to support you, we are there to update and upgrade your education. Now the next, like I told you, is the State Commission of Allied and Healthcare Professions. Timelines, I told you very clearly, by the end of May 2023, they have to form the state commissions. Unless the state commissions are formed, you cannot be registered. And if the state commission, some state decides not to start it, those states will come under center. It's a very, very clear-cut ruling which has been given to them. So, all I want is you people register, enroll yourself, and then take it forward. We are there to support you. Now, what can an optometrist do independently? We've been talking from morning. Comprehensive diagnostics, comprehensive eye examination, contact lens prescribing and dispensing, vision assistive devices prescribing and dispensing, vision therapy, spectacle prescribing and dispensing. Kahan par hua tha? Guwahati, I think. A lot of hangama made, can I prescribe drugs? Can I do this? Can I do that? I just wanted to have a look at this simple graph. It's a study which was done in the Eye Institute in Philadelphia, which talks about different things, different eye care problems that people had. Can you make anything out of this graph? About 90% up to the blue one out here, all these problems can be handled by optometrists without drugs, without surgery. It's only about 5% problems which require surgical correction, surgical intervention, or medicines. 90% of the problems can be handled by us. Please do not cry for that 5 to 10%, 5%. Understand, learn those 95%. Sorry? For that 5%, you have to study more years. I don't know if it's worth it or not, but then at least You have a huge amount of opportunity in front of you, which we are missing out. We are not working towards it. All we need is your support, and then we can take Indian optometry to a much, much higher heights, and we will be able to stand high in international standards, and we will attain the due status which we have. Thank you very much.